Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I hope you're well from wherever you're watching this channel. Now, it's now emerging that there were detainees who were used to torture Albert OJUANG.
Arrested. Now, the suspects believed to have been detained or...
The three, Gina Mitowa Bwao, Collins Karani Reri, and Brian Mwaniki Njue, who were detainees at the Central Police Station when...
Remember, when the DCI decided to provide information about the investigation, we were told that Albert was detained in solitary confinement, alone in a cell. Then we were also told that some of the detainees who were in that cell were transferred to these other cells, but some were released so that they could create space for Albert OJUANG. Now, the information that is surfacing is that it's alleged that some of the detainees, I think around 3, were used to beat Albert OJUANG, and they ended up beating Albert OJUANG to a level where he could not survive the torture. So this story is a bit complicating because there was a story of Karura Forest. Now, there's a story about these 3 people who are used to beat Albert OJUANG. It's not yet clear whether these people went to Karura Forest with Albert OJUANG and some senior persons, and that is where they beat him. It's not yet clear whether that is where they launched the beating on Albert OJUANG or they conducted that beating in the cells. But what we know is that he was put in a separate cell alone. So in this analysis, ladies and gentlemen, I want us to explore this developing story about this new arrest, which has been made today, the 15th June 2025. So before we go further on this, ladies and gentlemen, kindly like this video to enable you to share it to many other people. Subscribe to our channel if you're not subscribed before, and to our existing subscribers, thank you so much for your support. Mind you, this latest arrest is happening at a time whereby the family of Albert OJUANG is putting more pressure after pressure.
Mpaka Nairobi. Makosa gani yana uzito wa...
Albert was asking if he was safe because he wasn't sure if he's okay in the police cells.
Maswali yangu bado yako pale pale. Yale niliuliza wakati akishikwa. Mashtaka ni yapi dhidi ya kijana wangu? Na mlalamishi ni yupi?
Speak about this so that it doesn't have to happen to anybody else, because it's sad.
The clergy have also reacted on this matter, and they are piling more pressure. So in other words, the government is feeling the pressure from Kenyans. Now, that's the reason why you find that the DCI, IPOA, they are moving with speed to try to to solve this mystery. They have to do it within the shortest time possible before Albert OJUANG is buried. So I think that explains why DCI na IPOA wanakimbia mbio zingine ambazo hatujawai kuona, but all this are trying to deal with this mystery of who is responsible. The good news again is that some of the footages which were believed to have been lost as a result of formatting of that hard disk have been recovered. Some footages have been recovered, and DCI is trying to reconstruct these footages so that they can actually build the whole story iwe iko complete. Mind you, the investigation must be complete, before the file is handed over to the Director of Public Prosecution. It must be complete, and there is a time frame for that. I think they were been given until Monday, for them to conclude this matter. But if the people, the 3 gentlemen have been arrested on allegations that they are the ones who launched that torture on Albert OJUANG, then I think we are headed on the right direction. I know there are people who've been commenting. I've been checking more comments. People say they don't trust the DCI. Of course, initially, kazi za investigations zimekuwa ziko very suspicious, but on this one, I think they are doing the best they can to solve the problem. Mistakes are there. When I shared something about DCI, I mean, of course, DCI gave a statement which was not correct, but he was reading details from the OB, you know, and especially from the digital register, details which had been captured there by someone. Of course, investigations were going to be conducted, which would actually either rule out the statements which are contained in the OB, or confirm them. But then when the CCTV came out, the one from Bagadi, it ruled out the statement that DCI, director of the DCI, DCI boss, whatever he said, is zote zilikuwa ruled out by that simple explosive camera. So these three people are not in police, are not members of the police force, but they are normal civilians who were put in custody. Someone was trying to imagine that what if these people were planted there in advance, wakae ni kama wafungwa lakini wako pale wanangoja ku launch hiyo torture on this detainee, assuming it was pre-planned, assuming the people wanted Albert to die, or that organized that they were going to arrest him on a particular day, na watamleta mpaka Nairobi, na akimleta wapate kwamba these detainees wako pale. What if that was the plot, ladies and gentlemen? You know, because the way things are coming out saizi, the pressure on DIG Lang'ati inapungua, and people are beginning to see this picture kivyengine tena. Kumbe kuna other people involved. What if this matter was just a case of someone overreacting? That maybe assuming Albert alijaribu ku fight now, so they could have overreacted. Because if you look at the people who have been used to torture him, based on the screen, ladies and gentlemen, what you are seeing on the screen, ni kama ni watu ambao wako na muscle nyingi sana. They had to be hired to deal with OJUANG, because OJUANG alikuwa anaonekana ni mtu ambayo Albert anaonekana kama ni mtu ambaye yuko strong sana, unaona mkule na ametoka Homa Bay, so they had to hire reinforcement, kwa sababu polisi wangetumia binduki ingeleta shida nyingi, so they had to use civilians to execute this murder. I'm assuming the allegation that there are detainees who are used to deal with this issue is true. You know, as we speak right now, it's still allegations. But when they finally get presented to the court, they will be asked whether they are guilty or not guilty, and most likely they will say not guilty. Ili kesi iendelee. So, ladies and gentlemen, perhaps if you watch this video and you've not subscribed, take 1 second and subscribe, like this video. Till you catch up again, stay safe and stay blessed.